Well, there's a couple of things. The easy button answer to that is, does it agree with the Bible? And if somebody says something like, you should have an affair, or God doesn't exist, you go, okay, well, that's obviously false. So, if it disagrees with the Bible. Now, there's a whole category of people who will use the Bible to manipulate people to do unwise things. And so you can't always use that as a rule of thumb. You need to become somebody who is skilled at interpreting the Bible. That's why we teach the inductive method here at Christ Community Church all the time, is that you have to observe the facts. Then you ask the question, what did it mean to the original audience? And then you can pull it into, what does it mean to us today? But when you skip either observation or interpretation, it can leave you vulnerable to really, really bad teaching. And so you want to be careful about that. I would also say you want to choose sources that you trust about the advice and be able to say, I'm going to ask those people what those sources are. I feel like Christ Community Church, our staff, is a great place to be able to ask, hey, is this healthy or unhealthy, and why? Lots of wise, learned, educated, experienced people here who would love to help people walk through wisdom in following advice. I may be off from the question a little bit. Well,
Yeah, just how do you discern essentially if what the advice you're being given is bad?
oh, okay. Yep. It's probably broader than that. You have other thoughts?
I think that was great. I think that a huge part of the discernment process is praying and bringing those things before God and trusting Him to lead you. But something practical in that, something that the Spirit might use to give you discernment, is other people. Is there someone else that would agree with this? Are there other people who you respect, who are committed believers, who would also say, yes, of course, this makes sense or whatever? I think that times that I would be wary also is when people very confidently claim to have a specific message from God that doesn't necessarily come from the Bible, kind of like what you were saying. I think that's just a place to pause and not necessarily say that that's bad advice, but someone who lacks the humility to say, this just might be my idea, or this just might be my thought, my opinion, but someone who is going directly to, I've heard this from God, He told me to tell you this, or, not that God doesn't speak in that way, but I think that those are places for pause where it's helpful to ask other people too. Does this seem like this makes sense? Does this seem like it would line up with something that God might tell someone?
Mm-hmm.